Hello and welcome to Better Body Movement. This class is designed to help you start feeling well.
I have less pain, literally eliminate that pain.
I just feel better.
I can tell that my posture is changing.
Bright light in the day when we've done our workouts online.
Makes me feel so good about myself.
Typically, runners who experience shin splints have overused the stabilizing muscles of the ankle as well as the dorsiflexion of the foot. The space between the tibia and the fibula has a sheath wrapped around it called the periosteum. This sheath oftentimes is rubbed raw, creating inflammation and tension on the shin bone. The muscles lining the anterior portion of the shin is the tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, and extensor hallucis longus. Sitting on a chair in a figure 4 position, locate the edge of the tibia near the thick muscle tissue. To find the tissue we're working on, push the fingers to the edge of the tibia and drop directly into the muscle tissue. Then squeeze into the bone. Move up and down the shin vigorously. After 30 to 40 seconds working in that position, we will work the opposite side of the tibia with the thumbs. Press the fingers into the soft tissue on the opposite side of the shin. Drag the thumbs up and down vigorously for 30 to 40 seconds. Ensure you work all the way from the top to the bottom of the shin. If your fingers have a hard time tolerating the pressure, you can utilize a lacrosse ball. Holding the lacrosse ball cupped in your hand, press into the muscle tissue directly beside the tibia, working your way all the way from the top of the tibia down towards the ankle. Remember to use strong pressure directly near the bone. Continue the same kind of work on the inside portion of the tibia. Here, you can use pressure from your palm pressing into the muscle tissue, while your other hand cups the ball, allowing you to create the up and down motion. Another way to work the anterior tibialis is by sitting sideways on a foam roller and leaning forward, putting pressure down into the foam roller. Obviously, this takes some balance and coordination in order to keep the pressure on the foam roller. In this position, flex the foot and relax, making sure you squeeze the anterior tibialis. Once complete with the foam roller, in the same position, utilize the lacrosse ball, creating a more pinpointed pressure on the muscle. Work your way up and down the muscle tissue right beside the shin. Typically, runners who experience shin splints have overused the stabilizing muscles of the ankle as well as the dorsiflexion of the foot. The space between the tibia and the fibula has a sheath wrapped around it called the periosteum. This sheath oftentimes is rubbed raw, creating inflammation and tension on the shin bone. The muscles lining the anterior portion of the shin is the tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, and extensor hallucis longus. Sitting on a chair in a figure 4 position, locate the edge of the tibia near the thick muscle tissue. To find the tissue we're working on, push the fingers to the edge of the tibia and drop directly into the muscle tissue. Then squeeze into the bone. Move up and down the shin vigorously. After 30 to 40 seconds working in that position, we will work the opposite side of the tibia with the thumbs. Press the fingers into the soft tissue on the opposite side of the shin. Drag the thumbs up and down vigorously for 30 to 40 seconds. Ensure you work all the way from the top to the bottom of the shin. If your fingers have a hard time tolerating the pressure, you can utilize a lacrosse ball. Holding the lacrosse ball cupped in your hand, press into the muscle tissue directly beside the tibia, working your way all the way from the top of the tibia down towards the ankle. Remember to use strong pressure directly near the bone. Continue the same kind of work on the inside portion of the tibia. Here, you can use pressure from your palm pressing into the muscle tissue while your other hand cups the ball, allowing you to create the up and down motion. Another way to work the anterior tibialis is by sitting sideways on a foam roller and leaning forward, putting pressure down into the foam roller. Obviously, this takes some balance and coordination in order to keep the pressure on the foam roller. In this position, flex the foot and relax, making sure you squeeze the anterior tibialis. Once complete with the foam roller, in the same position, utilize the lacrosse ball, creating a more pinpointed pressure on the muscle. Work your way up and down the muscle tissue right beside the shin. Typically, runners who experience shin splints have overused the stabilizing muscles of the ankle as well as the dorsiflexion of the foot. The space between the tibia and the fibula has a sheath wrapped around it called the periosteum. This sheath oftentimes is rubbed raw, creating inflammation and tension on the shin bone. The muscles lining the anterior portion of the shin is the tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, and extensor hallucis longus. Sitting on a chair in a figure 4 position, locate the edge of the tibia near the thick muscle tissue. To find the tissue we're working on, push the fingers to the edge of the tibia and drop directly into the muscle tissue. Then squeeze into the bone. Move up and down the shin vigorously. After 30 to 40 seconds working in that position, we will work the opposite side of the tibia with the thumbs. Press the fingers into the soft tissue on the opposite side of the shin. Drag the thumbs up and down vigorously for 30 to 40 seconds. Ensure you work all the way from the top to the bottom of the shin. If your fingers have a hard time tolerating the pressure, you can utilize a lacrosse ball. Holding the lacrosse ball cupped in your hand, press into the muscle tissue directly beside the tibia, working your way all the way from the top of the tibia down towards the ankle. Remember to use strong pressure directly near the bone. Continue the same kind of work on the inside portion of the tibia. Here, you can use pressure from your palm pressing into the muscle tissue while your other hand cups the ball, allowing you to create the up and down motion. Another way to work the anterior tibialis is by sitting sideways on a foam roller and leaning forward, putting pressure down into the foam roller. Obviously, this takes some balance and coordination in order to keep the pressure on the foam roller. In this position, flex the foot and relax, making sure you squeeze the anterior tibialis. Once complete with the foam roller, in the same position, utilize the lacrosse ball, creating a more pinpointed pressure on the muscle. Work your way up and down the muscle tissue right beside the shin. Typically, runners who experience shin splints have overused the stabilizing muscles of the ankle as well as the dorsiflexion of the foot. The space between the tibia and the fibula has a sheath wrapped around it called the periosteum. This sheath oftentimes is rubbed raw, creating inflammation and tension on the shin bone. The muscles lining the anterior portion of the shin is the tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, and extensor hallucis longus. Sitting on a chair in a figure 4 position, locate the edge of the tibia near the thick muscle tissue. To find the tissue we're working on, push the fingers to the edge of the tibia and drop directly into the muscle tissue. Then squeeze into the bone. Move up and down the shin vigorously. After 30 to 40 seconds working in that position, we will work the opposite side of the tibia with the thumbs. Press the fingers into the soft tissue on the opposite side of the shin. Drag the thumbs up and down vigorously for 30 to 40 seconds. Ensure you work all the way from the top to the bottom of the shin. If your fingers have a hard time tolerating the pressure, you can utilize a lacrosse ball. Holding the lacrosse ball cupped in your hand, press into the muscle tissue directly beside the tibia, working your way all the way from the top of the tibia down towards the ankle. Remember to use strong pressure directly near the bone. Continue the same kind of work on the inside portion of the tibia. Here, you can use pressure from your palm pressing into the muscle tissue, while your other hand cups the ball, allowing you to create the up and down motion. Another way to work the anterior tibialis is by sitting sideways on a foam roller and leaning forward, putting pressure down into the foam roller. Obviously, this takes some balance and coordination in order to keep the pressure on the foam roller. In this position, flex the foot and relax, making sure you squeeze the anterior tibialis. Once complete with the foam roller, in the same position, utilize the lacrosse ball, creating a more pinpointed pressure on the muscle. Work your way up and down the muscle tissue right beside the shin.
All right, good morning, Carol. Love seeing you online. That's awesome. Thanks for joining in. For anyone else who happens to join, welcome. Glad you're here. We are here to help you move well so you live well. So we are going to get started on that right away. However, first, before we do anything, please do go down just below the video here and hit subscribe. We would love to have your subscription to our channel. We do work out every Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time. Live, so that way you can ask questions, have myself or Noah be able to instruct you in ways to change and do things differently in order to help your body actually heal through movement. So we will work with you in any way that we possibly can. So that's what the comments are for below. Do leave a comment if you have any questions or concerns so we can help you the best we can. We always start with our I dedicates and then our verse of the day. We've got a really fun one today, so little explanations that'll come with it. But our I dedicates for now, Lori's mom doing dialysis 3 times a week, so we want to pray over her. Ethan with his stage 4 liver and bile duct cancer, just praying for him and his family with that. My friend's wife who was diagnosed with breast cancer, she is treating that naturally as much as they're able to. So thus far, it has basically been sustained, it's plateaued and not changing at all, which is kind of a best case scenario with what she was found to have. Sky is doing fantastic, so keep praying for her, just her strength and getting off all the medications. Everything else as far as the bone marrow transplant looks 100%, no infections, doing very well there. And then Kira, praying for her going through radiation after her surgery, so big lymphatic surgery. Now, our verse of the day, this is really fun. But you will receive power when the Holy Spirit has come upon you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem and in all Judea and Samaria and to the ends of the earth. Acts 1:8. So anyone who's been around me for a long time has heard the name David Jack. That's my mentor. We actually had him on our Facebook Live. Did a thing on the purpose of fitness and how we use our bodies and what we intend to do with them. And that's actually where this I Dedicate comes from. Is Activate is the conference I always went to. That actually comes from this verse, because if you see Act, verse 8, activate. He was laying in bed, woke up, God just impressed this on his heart, Acts 1:8, Acts 1:8, Acts 1:8. He went and read it, and it's like a light bulb clicked, and he said, fitness is our end of the earth. Activate. We're going to activate people by spreading the message of Jesus Christ through our fitness world, which is a total transformation from vain, selfish, posers on Instagram, right? Like it's beyond just the physical realm of what our body does, but dedicating our intentions and our time for others is a part of being a witness of who Jesus is even to the ends of the earth, Acts 1:8. So that's where Activate came from, which is really cool that one showed up today. All right, let's jump into our workout. We are doing a core day. So remember, with your core day, we are trying to compress the entire midsection, right? So what that means is when you're laying on your back, you should be able to press your back down as hard as you possibly can and not fit your hand behind the small of your back. Okay, so it's a little bit like a crunch. So if you want to start that way, do a little crunch, lift your shoulders off the ground, see what your core feels like, and then try to keep that compression and set your shoulders back down on the floor. Okay, what that really should do is force your pelvis to actually move. Okay, so that pelvis should have a little bit of a tuck, small of the back pressing into the ground. An external cue or thought process that you can use is imagine a Dorito under the small of your back, and you're trying to crush that Dorito, okay? And then I should say, always, every movement, the Kegel is one of the most important parts, right? Kegel is pelvic floor compression, especially for women. It's a very important part of the process for any woman who's ever given birth. Just the pelvis and the structure has completely changed. So what we want to do is kind of pull all that back together by forcing those muscles to fire. This is a great way to do that.
Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
Okay, tilt with knee fall out. All that means is you're going to do the same core compression, Kegel, core compressed, and then you're going to try to allow your knee to fall out to the side and then bring it back up.
3, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
And my big concern here is not letting the pelvis move with your leg. Okay, so you're really focused on maintaining the small of the back on the ground, hard, hard, hard. As the knee goes out, there should be no change in how your pelvis sits on the floor, right? So as my knee goes out, if I lean out to the right, I shouldn't roll my hips with it, right? There should be no change here. Compressed hard.
That's halfway.
Right? Or think belly wax, right? If someone came up and punched you in the stomach, you should be able to brace against that and hold tight. That's what we want to think. Think about physical abuse. It's a great way to feel well. I am a little warped. That's okay, though.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with adduction.
The right kind of pain creates gain. Yeah, the whole no pain, no gain thing led to a lot of injuries.
3, 2,
we want the right
1.
kind of pain
Pelvic
to create
tilt with adduction.
gain. Okay, tilt with adduction. So now we're going to take something, put it between the knees, compress that core, squeeze your knees tight. This is the big one. Release the knees, but keep your core tight, then release your core. Right? Those should be very distinct movements. If it slurs together and you just relax everything simultaneously, you're not getting the core compression that we're looking for. So compress hard, squeeze those knees. Again, focus on the Kegel and core compression. Release the knees, keeping that tight, and then release the core. Okay, and this is a continual process. Every single rep should be very intentional, very focused. Connect your brain to that core, making sure your body stays in check. Very good.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, tilt with knee toward chest. So this just means we're going to march our feet. Okay, so you're going to do the same Kegel core compression.
3, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
Now that you have that tight, march your feet, right? One knee at a time. Bring it up, set it back down. Again, on the way down, as the foot's returning to the ground, that's where I put an extra emphasis on the core, right? Make sure that doesn't loosen up just because your knee's going away from you, okay? And as I showed there, don't let your hips shift and pivot or the pelvis move around on the floor, right? Especially the tailbone. If you feel the tailbone wobbling, that's bad. We're trying to get rid of that wobble and create spinal stability of the torso over the pelvis. Okay, that's the midsection. That's what all this muscle does. Okay, so squeeze tight, 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 tight. Okay. Again, your absolute best, all the way through. Firm compressions.
Prepare for pelvic tilt with bridge.
Awesome. Tilt and bridge. So again, remember with your bridge, core stays tight. You're lifting like a piece of iron.
3, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt with bridge.
All that means is as soon as you start generating force by pinching the penny between your butt cheeks, you should start pressing your shoulders into the ground. Right? I don't want you to lift so high that your back arches. Okay? That's what we're trying to get rid of, is that poor spinal alignment. So you tuck the pelvis, hold that core tight, then create your hip extension. This is as simple as possible, the start of a squatting pattern.
That's halfway.
Right? Bent hips to straight hips is what we're shooting for, right? However, I need to hold my spine in alignment while I generate that movement. So if we're going to create new daily movement patterns, this is where we start. Create that core compression and hold it tight, so that way you can add it to standing up, sitting down, getting in and out of a car.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for shoulder drops.
Shoulder drops simply means we're taking the shoulders out of the ears, we're dropping them to the floor, but we're also going to drop them towards the feet. So you should feel your low back or your ribs really engage here to create that pull. Squeezing tight, firm, 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 all the way through. And remember, every time we do this, right? So it might be every arm, it might be every other arm. Recheck that core. We still want the spine braced to the floor.
That's halfway.
The majority of our compensation patterns come from when our shoulder sticks in place and I don't feel like I have any more range of motion here in my shoulder. I'm going to make up the difference by arching my back, thinking I'm creating more range of motion. Well, obviously my thumb's closer to the floor. Well, it is because you arched your back. You didn't get more shoulder range of motion. However, shoulder range of motion improves when we create stability.
2, 1. Prepare for dead bug.
So keep working through that, especially through this dead bug. Okay, dead bug. Remember, a box is between your knees, right, and your arms. You're just holding that square shape. And you'll see it here when I pull my knees up. Right, core compressed really hard. Get it set in place. Don't let that move. And then once it's set in place, bring the knees up and hold it firm. What we're trying to avoid is that knee coming up towards the chest. So if you think a barrier, right, keeping your hips at 90 degrees, it's going to hold those knees directly over the hips, creating more torque or tension through the midsection. Right? So now hold and brace that firm. Let your shoulder go through its drop. Hold that back down. This is a compound movement. Everything's going all at once. But so is walking. right? So if we learn how to transition in alternate movements, right? Left leg with right arm, I'm able to now create that translation as I walk or move throughout the day. Get good, solid core compression. And I want you to think someone could come and step on your stomach,
3,
stand right on
2,
top of you.
1. Long rest.
Good. You know, Carol, that'd be one to try with Noelle hanging out. See if she can just stand right on your stomach. Hold her out of there. That would be awesome. I think it's possible.
She is 5. She can start school.
Yeah. Start school real soon. All right, very good work. So I do have something I want you to try in this round. So for round 2, I want you to think, lift your feet just 50% of the weight through every single exercise. Okay, so we're just going to start pulling the knees towards the chest. Sometimes when we think feet, we end up going up on our heels or on our toes, thinking we're moving
3,
our knees.
2,
But really, I want the
1.
focus to be pull the
Prepare for
knees
pelvic tilt.
towards the chest just a tiny bit. Your feet don't even have to leave the floor. Carol said, ha! Okay,
3,
set that core.
2, 1. Pelvic tilt.
Brace that spine, set that core, get really firm. Gently start pulling the knees towards the chest. Make sure nothing changes in the midsection, and then just release that pressure. Set the core back down, right? Or release the core. Right? So the feet set back down, core releases. So again, your core should stay tight through both the action of thinking about pulling the knees up and as you set your feet back down fully. Okay? What we're really avoiding is trying to use our
That's
feet to
halfway.
create the pelvic tilt. And hopefully that makes sense, right? If you push your feet down, it makes it super easy to roll your hips and think, oh yeah, my back's flat against the ground. But your core's not doing the work. We want to focus and isolate the core. Therefore, if we lift the feet, and right here I show it really well, right? I lift my knees towards my chest, whoop, and my back pops right up off the floor. That's a problem. Re-squeeze the core. Get it tight.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
Okay, so this is going to be a stepped process. Kegel and core nice and tight. Gently pull the knees towards the chest. Knee out to the side, back up, set the feet down, relax the core,
3,
then do the other side.
2, 1. Pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
Okay, here we go. Tilt, compress, firm, firm, firm. Gently pull those knees towards the chest. Knee out, back up. You can release if you need to, but then do the other side. Okay? Just making sure that you continuously are checking, make sure that core stays tight through the entire thing. I'm going to run and grab more water.
That's halfway. Three, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with adduction.
All right, tilt with adduction. So grab a foam roller or a pillow, something that you can put between those knees and squeeze.
3, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt with adduction.
Okay, so this one's a little different. We're going to do the core compression, squeeze the knees, then lift the knees towards the chest, set the knees back down, release the knees, keeping the core tight, then release the core. Again, this is a slow process, doing just one repetition, because the whole point is trying to connect your brain to the muscle tissue in order to make it engage throughout the day, through everyday movements. Right? We want to be very active in the thought process of how we move.
That's halfway.
Right? We're not in the process of making better workouts. We're in the process of making better body movement. That's an all-day process. 10 seconds, again, firm compressions. Make sure that low back stays on the ground when you go to pull those feet up a little
3,
bit.
2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
Tilt with knee toward chest, and we're still going to march, but you're going to keep pressure off the opposite
3,
foot.
2, 1. Pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
So that knee that foot that stays on the ground, make sure it stays real light on the floor. Okay? You just want to keep the compression in the core. You don't want that back to be peeling up off the floor. Get tight, hold firm all the way through. Firm, firm, firm. Doing your best to maintain that spinal compression. If you need a break, take that break. You know you need a break when your back lifts up off the floor. Right? The core needs to reabsorb some ATP, create that energy to be able to create the muscular contraction we're looking for. Right? So it does you no good to force yourself to keep your knees moving and pulling on those hips if your core is not tight. Right? The whole point is to keep your core tight through the movement. 10 seconds. Very good. Do your best
3,
all the way through.
2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with bridge.
Tilt and bridge.
3, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt with bridge.
Again, good core compression. Create your bridge by pinching your butt cheeks together. Remember, it's like you're trying to flatten a penny, right? Change that penny the way that it looks because you squeeze your butt cheeks so hard. Right? Every so often, I'll let you try to imagine pinching that penny sideways and bending it in half. Make that one happen. Lois doesn't like that thought process. Does she say her? Nope, I don't think so. Very, very good. You maybe you could do that with one of those magic coins. Fold in half. Good, good, good. Compressing nice and tight. Hold firm all the way through.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for shoulder drops.
Good, good, good. Okay, get those shoulders set. Again, down and back.
3,
We're trying to get
2, 1. Shoulder drop.
trying to get the outside of the shoulder to pull into the floor. Right? So we're thinking keep the shoulders way down and back, even though your arms are extended forward. That's the stable environment in which we can create better range of motion. If I simply roll my shoulders forward in a slouched position, try to raise my arms, I can't do it. Right? So I'm going to try to train my shoulders down and back. Hey, there's my full range of motion because it pulls
That's
bony
halfway.
anatomy out of the way in order to create a greater range of motion. So we have to train out of that rolled forward position. Set them, set them, set them. Get those shoulders tight. Pulling, or I say pinch your bra strap, right? So imagine your shoulder blades going down and back to pinch the clip of the bra strap.
3, 2, 1.
Good.
Prepare for dead bug.
Awesome. Get ready for the dead bug, or you can do the bird dog. So I'll show you the bird dog here. Same movement, it's just on your hands and knees. Remember, we don't want a cat
3,
or cow
2,
at the spine. We
1.
want to hold that
Dead bug.
firm and flat. Okay, so even through the extension, right? So you're still alternating opposites, but you're trying to balance and hold and maintain a tight spine. Right? You don't want to change how that spine braces. Good firm compression. Nice reach, Lois. Hold firm. That's tight. And again, about every 5
That's
seconds, you should be reactivating that core. Right? Again, if you need a break, take it. That's fine. Jump back into it when you are able. Continue to squeeze, compress, firm all the way through. Doing your best. I love it. 10 seconds. Then you get a break.
3, 2, 1. Long rest.
Fantastic work. Okay, that's 2 rounds down, so of course we have 1 more round, so it needs to be harder. So this time, instead of leaving your feet on the floor and just creating a little pull, I want you to try to actually get your feet to hover without losing that core bracing, okay, that spinal brace. If your back arches up off the floor, when you pull your feet up, reset immediately, get your core tight enough to just be able to lift those feet, and nothing changes in that midsection, okay? Again, you'll hear the 3, 2, 1 and have 15 seconds to get set on the floor.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt. Three, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt.
Pelvic tilt. Again, compress your core. Hold really tight. Then try to real slow even. Don't do it quick. Like, don't pop your toes off the floor, but just feet as flat as can be. Start pulling your knees nice and slow and see what happens, how your core adjusts. If you can squeeze it harder, maintain a flat spine on the ground, right? We may be laying on the floor all day, but we sure are working. You sure are working. Can't really say we, as I stand here and explain it. Good job. Although my twin brother is doing a lot of work there. Good job. Compress that core. Keep it tight, squeezing through it.
Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
Good. Okay, tilt with knee fall out. So again, you're going to tilt, create your compression, hover the feet, knee out to the side, bring it back up.
3, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt with knee fall out.
Jim. I don't think so. Yeah. Okay, good. Again, remember compressing that core, hover the feet, then put your knee out to the side, bring it back up if you can, right? If you can't, just go to one of the earlier stages where we try to work through that, right? But again, you're going to lose range of motion, right? You're not going to be able to take that knee out as far, and the hips are just going to roll over, right? But if you can stay tight, keep that core compressed, you might even put your arms out about 45 degrees.
3,
Plant your hands in the floor.
1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with adduction.
Adduction.
3, 2, 1. Pelvic tilt with adduction.
He's on the top like everything. So he's out in the fresh air.
Awesome.
At least he's doing something, but he's not sitting in the bed on his bed playing games.
Playing games, yep.
So
Awesome.
that
Yep. Good core compression. Again, squeeze nice and tight. Firm. Doing your absolute best.
That's halfway.
Pressing through. Hold those shoulders down and back still. Right? We're not crunching all the way up. We're just focusing on that core compression. So this one again, it's compress, squeeze the knees, lift the feet, set the feet, release the knees, release the core. Okay. All the way through, almost there, 7 seconds. Do your best to finish strong.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with knee toward chest.
Awesome. Tilt with knee toward chest. So again, compress your core, hover your feet. You're going to move one knee up and then back down.
3,
right? We're not going to
2,
bicycle kick and
1.
move both
Pelvic
simultaneously.
tilt with knee toward chest.
Very particular. Very particular. Right? One at a time. Oh, she's just working hard over there. We got our grunts going. I like it. Good, good, good. Core compressed. Re-squeeze. Nice and tight. Firm, firm, firm. Shoulder blades. Down, back, down, back.
That's halfway.
Very good. Core compressed. Tight, tight, tight. Shoulder blades. Down and back. Squeeze firm. Doing your absolute best to work through it.
3, 2, 1. Prepare for pelvic tilt with bridge.
Okay, tilt and bridge. And core compress, shoulder blades down and back. Squeeze your butt cheeks super, super tight. Lifting your
3,
hips.
2.
Again, you might only go 1
1.
to 2 inches. That's
pelvic
fine.
tilt with bridge.
But we are trying to create the ability to extend your hips and keep your core tight. Really don't want instability in that low back. There should be no movement of those lumbar vertebrae. Tight, tight, tight. Brace it, hold it. Then compress your butt cheeks nice and tight. Right? That's basic squat 101. Core compression, go through your hip range of motion.
That's halfway.
Very good. So this is about the safest way to practice that. So make sure you do your best to try to hold that spine tight. And if you need to, again, every time you get to the ground, check. Put your hand behind, try to fit your hand behind the small of your back. If it fits, bad news bears. Oh boy.
Right leg. Then the left.
3,
Now
2,
start lifting.
1. Prepare for shoulder drops.
Okay, shoulder drops. 2 more. This and then dead bugs or bird dogs. Firm compression
3,
as we go through
2,
the shoulders.
1. Shoulder drop.
Right, so Kegel, core compressed. So the pelvic floor stays tight even through this one. It's actually pretty easy to forget about the core when we start focusing on those shoulders. I gotta pull them way down and out of my ears, and I can't wear them as earrings. And then, oh yeah, I have a core. So remember that core, keep it tight. Compressing your spine to the floor, but allowing your shoulder to get as much range of motion as it can. Just a nice straight
That's
arm.
halfway.
Again, as soon as that stops, just pull back down. Right? Our focus is getting the shoulder blade pulled down and back out of the ears. Actually, I'm not even worried or concerned about the range of motion because over time, as we build stability in the scapulas, pulling those shoulder blades down and back, we increase range of motion in the shoulder joint.
3,
Very good.
2, 1. Prepare for dead bug.
Awesome. Okay, get ready for the dead bug. Remember, squeeze that core really tight, shoulder blades down and back hard, hard, hard. Compressing nice and firm.
3,
Doing your best
2,
through the movement.
1. Dead bug.
Okay. Dead bug, make sure that you keep that core compressed. So if you extend too far and that low back pops up off the ground, I want you to focus on keeping the low back down and not taking the leg as far to the ground as what you were, right? Maybe shorten that up just a little bit. You don't have to extend all the way out. What you have to do is keep that core tight through the extension process.
That's halfway.
Halfway through. Change it over to the bird dogs. Again, don't cat or cow in your bird dogs. Hold it firm. Squeeze tight, tight, tight. Doing your absolute best. Good. Firm squeeze, firm squeeze.
3, 2, 1. Long rest.
Awesome. Hey, very, very good work, everyone. I appreciate you being here. Remember, if you have not yet, please do subscribe to the channel. It really helps us be able to provide this information for you to learn and grow and change in the way that your body works and moves. Remember, you can also set notifications as on. When we go live, you will be notified that we have gone live, either through your email or it'll say it in your subscription. So that's really a great way to stay informed and continue to work. If you happen to join us and you're not a part of our private group called the Better Body Movement VIP group on Facebook, let me know. Search for us on Facebook. I can make you a member of that group. There's a lot of information, additional content that you can't find on YouTube here. That's really easy to access. Anything from nutrition guides to thoughtful movement patterns or corrective exercise work for very specific problems. Rather than search through the YouTube library, it's just available right there. I have a friend interested. Should I bring her in on core day? Yes, that would be absolutely fantastic, Carol. If she wants to join, right, that's the foundation of all movement. So I think that's a great idea. Have her join on core day. So Monday we'll be back to core day. Friday, tomorrow we are doing a total body day. So I hope you come ready to move well so you live well. I'll see you guys later. Have a wonderful day.
Typically, runners who experience shin splints have overused the stabilizing muscles of the ankle as well as the dorsiflexion of the foot. The space between the tibia and the fibula has a sheath wrapped around it called the periosteum. This sheath oftentimes is rubbed raw, creating inflammation and tension on the shin bone. The muscles lining the anterior portion of the shin is the tibialis anterior, extensor digitorum longus, and extensor hallucis longus. Sitting on a chair in a figure 4 position, locate the edge of the tibia near the thick muscle tissue. To find the tissue we're working on, push the fingers to the edge of the tibia and drop directly into the muscle tissue. Then squeeze into the bone. Move up and down the shin vigorously. After 30 to 40 seconds working in that position, we will work the opposite side of the tibia with the thumbs. Press the fingers into the soft tissue on the opposite side of the shin. Drag the thumbs up and down vigorously for 30 to 40 seconds. Ensure you work all the way from the top to the bottom of the shin. If your fingers have a hard time tolerating the pressure, you can utilize a lacrosse ball. Holding the lacrosse ball cupped in your hand, press into the muscle tissue directly beside the tibia, working your way all the way from the top of the tibia down towards the ankle. Remember to use strong pressure directly near the bone. Continue the same kind of work on the inside portion of the tibia. Here, you can use pressure from your palm pressing into the muscle tissue, while your other hand cups the ball, allowing you to create the up and down motion. Another way to work the anterior tibialis is by sitting sideways on a foam roller and leaning forward, putting pressure down into the foam roller. Obviously, this takes some balance and coordination in order to keep the pressure on the foam roller. In this position, flex the foot and relax, making sure you squeeze the anterior tibialis. Once complete with the foam roller, in the same position, utilize the lacrosse ball, creating a more pinpointed pressure on the muscle. Work your way up and down the muscle tissue right beside the shin.